This could have been easier. Could have been with your family. Instead, you want to act a fool? That's fine.
I'm not acting a fool. You were the one that's acting a fool.
In moments of extreme crisis, our reactions are often primal and unfiltered. A parent's love, in particular, can manifest as a fierce, overwhelming force when their child is in danger. But what happens when that raw, desperate energy collides with the rigid structures of society, with rules, protocols, and the unyielding letter of the law? This event in a hotel corridor becomes a stark case study on this very conflict. It forces us to ask a difficult question. Where does a parent's justifiable panic end and a punishable public disturbance begin? The story begins not with violence, but with a father's worst nightmare. Police were dispatched to a hotel on May 11 following reports of a guest causing a scene. What they found was not simple chaos, but a situation born from profound fear. The initial report from another guest painted a picture of a heated argument, a man and a woman pushing each other, creating a disturbance that required intervention. The scene in the hallway was tense, with hotel staff and concerned onlookers trying to make sense of the commotion that had shattered the building's quiet atmosphere. The situation was already spiraling before law enforcement even arrived on the scene, setting the stage for a confrontation where every party was operating under immense stress and with incomplete information. Upon entering the designated floor, officers are met with the central figure of the disturbance, a shirtless man whose agitation is immediately apparent. His initial words are not of aggression, but of frantic explanation. He gestures wildly, his voice strained, as he recounts the reason for his state. His children had gone missing. In the terrifying vacuum of not knowing where they were, he had retraced their last known steps, which led him to his best friend's room down the hall. According to him, his friend's children were the last people to see his own. Consumed by a terror that any parent can understand, he admits that he lost his shit, his composure completely eroding under the weight of his fear. His actions were not random. They were the desperate, albeit chaotic attempts of a father trying to piece together a puzzle to find his children. He pleads with the officers, trying to make them understand that his outburst was a symptom of his agony, a direct reaction to the most terrifying situation a parent can face. His perspective is clear. His behavior, however disruptive, was a necessary consequence of his search. He was a father first and a hotel guest second.
My kids went missing. I kind of lost my shit. I'm trying to understand where the my kids went. Right.
A moment of relief seems to arrive. The man informs the officers that the crisis has been averted, his children have been found and are now safe. He asks, with a tone of exhaustion, if his family can simply be left alone to go to bed. One might assume this would be the end of the matter. The cause of the panic is resolved, and peace can be restored. However, the situation takes a sharp, unforgiving turn. The police officer delivers the hotel management's verdict. Because of the earlier disturbance, they are no longer welcome. They must pack their things and leave the premises immediately. The problem has fundamentally shifted. It is no longer about a family emergency, but about the enforcement of hotel policy. The man's previous actions, driven by fear for his children, now have irreversible consequences that have nothing to do with their safety. The focus has moved from empathy for his plight to the cold, impersonal execution of rules. His partner, a woman in a black dress who has been standing by his side, now steps forward. Her demeanor is one of weary resignation mixed with rising panic. She tries to reason with the officers, explaining they have a cheer competition the next morning, and nowhere else to go at this late hour. The man's disbelief and anger reignite. The relief of finding his children is instantly replaced by the fresh injustice of being evicted. For him, the punishment is completely disconnected from the cause. He sees it as a cruel escalation, turning a moment of family trauma into a punitive action by the hotel.
I don't want to go over there.
Why are you so aggressive with me?
Because you're making me leave. We have a cheer competition tomorrow morning.
The conflict now enters its most critical and volatile phase. The father, unable to process the logic of being punished after finding his children, becomes increasingly defiant. The conversation deteriorates rapidly, with his frustration boiling over into direct confrontation with the officers. He feels judged and misunderstood, shouting that they have no right to look at him that way when they don't understand the terror he just experienced. His partner attempts to de-escalate, pleading for just 20 minutes to pack their belongings. Her voice is filled with a different kind of desperation. She confides in the officers about her severe anxiety, her hands trembling as she tries to articulate the overwhelming stress of the situation. She relives the moment of panic, exclaiming, "I lost my kids," as if to remind everyone of the event's origin. But her emotional plea is lost in the escalating standoff between her partner and the police. The communication has completely broken down. The father is trapped in the emotional reality of his earlier trauma, while the officers are locked into the procedural reality of enforcing an eviction and maintaining control. Neither side can see the situation from the other's point of view. The man's agitated state is interpreted as aggression, and the officer's calm, authoritative commands are interpreted as a lack of empathy. It is a perfect storm of miscommunication and colliding priorities. The situation is no longer about right or wrong. It is about power and control.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta be kidding me.
I came around like 4 hours.
I lost my kids, bro. I was freaking out because I lost my kids.
The verbal standoff inevitably becomes physical. The man's refusal to comply leads the officers to move in and restrain him. The scene explodes into a chaotic struggle on the floor of the hotel hallway. Multiple officers are required to subdue the man who resists with the full force of his frustration and outrage. From the body camera's chaotic perspective, we see a tangle of limbs, the strain on the officers' faces, and the man's reddened arm pinned beneath them. He continues to yell, insisting he is not the aggressor, that he was simply reacting to an impossible situation. The distinction between victim and perpetrator becomes utterly blurred. To himself, he is a father defending his family against an unjust system. To the officers, he is a non-compliant individual resisting arrest, a threat that must be neutralized. The cold click of handcuffs signals the definitive end of the argument. He is formally arrested, his struggle over. The finality of the act is stark. A family crisis that began with 2 missing children has culminated in a man being charged with battery, disorderly conduct, and battery on a law enforcement officer. The initial cause of the entire incident feels like a distant memory, completely overshadowed by the violent climax it produced. The system, designed to impose order, has done so, but at a tremendous human cost.
I ain't aggressive at all. It's cute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
You should on him.
On his person? Okay. Alright,
He does, or it's in his suitcase, I don't know.
I'm gonna bring his back.
In the aftermath, the scene shifts to the quiet, sterile environment outside the hotel. The man has been taken away in a police car. His partner is left alone to answer questions, her face a mask of shock and exhaustion. An officer calmly searches through their backpack on the hood of a car, a routine procedure that feels surreal after the emotional chaos that just unfolded. The family is now fractured, not by the initial scare of their lost children, but by the chain reaction of events that followed. This entire episode serves as a powerful reminder of how quickly a personal crisis can escalate when it intersects with institutional protocols. The father's panic was real and valid, but his reaction created a new problem that the system was ill-equipped to handle with nuance or compassion. The hotel's need for order and the police's mandate to enforce the law took precedence over the human element of the story. There are no easy answers here. Was the father's emotional response an overreaction that warranted his arrest, or was he a victim pushed past his breaking point by an unfeeling system? Could the police have de-escalated the situation differently, or did they simply follow their training in the face of perceived aggression? If you were in that father's shoes, having just found your missing children, how would you have reacted to being told you were being thrown out onto the street? And ultimately, in a society governed by rules, how much room should we make for the unpredictable and powerful nature of human emotion?